Tears, betrayal, and shocking celebrations. Remy Ma breaks down in disbelief as Papoose and Claressa share a milestone moment together. What was supposed to be a simple birthday turned into the biggest emotional storm of Remy's life. World of hip-hop has always been filled with drama, love, and scandal. But nothing could have prepared fans for the emotional storm that just hit Remy Ma, the tough-as-nails Bronx rapper, who has built her entire career on being unshakable, was suddenly reduced to tears when the man she thought would forever stand. By her side, her husband Papoose was seen celebrating Claressa's first birthday in a way that left everyone questioning his loyalty. This wasn't just about cake and candles. This was about betrayal, about humiliation, and about love that suddenly felt broken. Remy Ma has always worn her strength like armor. From her battles in the rap game to her public feuds and even her very personal struggles behind bars, she always returned to the spotlight with her head held high. And through it all, one man stood firmly beside her, Papoose. For years, fans considered them the ultimate ride-or-die couple, proof that love could survive fame, temptation, and time. Papoose was the husband who never left her side, the man who waited during her incarceration, who supported her music comeback, and who never let the world forget how deeply he loved her. Their love story was celebrated as a rare example of loyalty in an industry where relationships collapse every other week. But now, that story has taken a shocking turn. Because while Remy Ma was trying to hold her marriage together, the world watched as Papoose and Claressa, the two-time Olympic gold medalist and boxing world champions, miled side by side, cutting a birthday cake and making memories. What should have been a simple moment of happiness instantly spiraled into a public controversy. Fans, bloggers, and gossip outlets exploded with reactions. And Remy, she was left crying, wondering how the man she trusted could celebrate another woman so openly while her own heart felt ignored. The scene was almost too much to process. Papoose and Claressa looked comfortable, almost like they had known each other for years. They laughed, clapped, and shared inside jokes while music played in the background. For many, it seemed innocent. After all, Claressa has long been admired, in her own lane as one of the most dominant female boxers of all time. But the timing, the energy, and the intimacy of the celebration told a different story. Fans couldn't help but notice the closeness, the way Papoose leaned in, the way Claressa's smile lit up when he spoke. And when Remy saw the clips flooding social media, she broke. For Remy Ma, this wasn't about jealousy, it was about trust. Trust she thought she could rely on. Trust she believed would never be broken. She had stood by Papoose through everything. She had defended him against rumors, and she had opened her heart to him in ways few ever get to see. And now, as she watched the man she built her family with give Claressa the kind of attention she longed for, the tears wouldn't stop. Sources close to Remy say she cried uncontrollably, asking one heartbreaking question over and over. Why? Him? Why us? The hip-hop world has seen plenty of breakups, plenty of scandals, and plenty of love stories gone wrong. But this one cut differently. Because Remy and Papoose were supposed to be unshakable. Fans still remember the day Papoose surprised her with a vow renewal, standing in front of family and friends, declaring that no matter what the world threw at them, they would never give up on each other. That moment felt real. It felt permanent. And now with Claressa in the picture, all of that felt like nothing more than empty promises. The birthday celebration became the talk of the town. Video clips went viral, with blogs like The Shade Room and Hollywood Unlocked posting them within minutes. Comments poured in. Nah, this is disrespectful to Remy. Others said, y'all reading too much into this, Papoose can have friends. But the narrative was clear. Remy Ma was hurt, and fans could see it in her eyes when she addressed the situation in her own subtle way. She didn't need to go live. She didn't need to post a statement. Her silence, her tears, and her absence from the celebration said it all. Behind the scenes, insiders revealed that Remy had confronted Papoose. The conversation, described as heated and emotional, ended with Remy breaking down, saying she never imagined she'd have to fight for attention in her own marriage. To her, it wasn't about Claressa's birthday, it was about respect. Why wasn't she there? Why didn't Papoose insist that his wife be by his side? Why was Claressa receiving the kind of celebration that Remy herself longed for? The tension grew heavier as fans began digging deeper. Some pointed to past rumors that had suggested cracks in Remy and Papoose's marriage. Others remembered when whispers about infidelity started swirling months ago. Back then, both of them denied it, brushing it off as gossip. But now, with these visuals of Papoose and Claressa circulating everywhere, the doubt grew stronger. People started asking, was this just friendship? Or was this the beginning of something deeper? And while the internet debated, Remy's pain only grew. Imagine being a woman who has sacrificed, who has loved, who has believed in a man no matter the odds, then seeing him share his joy with someone else. Imagine building a family, creating a home, and then being left outside of a moment that should have included you. That's what cut Remy so deeply. She wasn't just excluded, she felt replaced. This was supposed to be their season of happiness. After years of struggle, after everything they had overcome, Remy wanted peace. She wanted stability. She wanted to believe that her marriage was solid. But instead, she was left in tears, betrayed by the one man she never thought would betray. The images of her crying spread quickly, turning her heartbreak into a public spectacle. Fans flooded her comments with support, writing things like, "Stay strong, sis," and "You don't deserve this." But no amount of public sympathy could erase the pain she felt inside her own home. This wasn't about the fans. Wasn't about the blogs. Was about her heart, broken in real time, while the world watched on. And as Papoose continued to smile alongside Claressa, the whispers grew louder. Was this an innocent birthday party? Or was it the beginning of a scandal that could destroy one of hip-hop's most respected marriages? Remy didn't have answers. All she had were her tears, her doubts, and a sinking feeling that life would never be the same again. Because sometimes, the smallest celebration can expose the deepest cracks. And for Remy Ma, this birthday was more than a party. It was the day her love story shattered. The fallout from Papoose and Claressa's birthday celebration did not end with the viral videos. In fact, that moment was only the spark that lit a firestorm across social media, gossip, blogs, and even within the hip-hop community. What started as whispers about innocent friendship quickly escalated into a storm of speculation, betrayal, and public humiliation. And at the center of it all was Remy Ma, broken, furious, and torn between defending her marriage and exposing the cracks that everyone could now clearly see. When fans first saw the clips of Papoose and Claressa laughing together, they thought it was strange. But as more footage leaked, showing them cutting the cake side by side, taking pictures with their arms around each other, and even dancing while the crowd cheered, the tone changed. To many, it looked less like a casual birthday gathering and more like an intimate celebration. The internet thrives on narratives, and this one was explosive. Was Papoose replacing Remy with Claressa? Within hours, hashtags like #PrayForRemy and #PAPOOSE exposed began trending. People couldn't stop talking about how heartbreaking it was to see Remy excluded from such a significant moment. One viral tweet read, "Papoose held Remy down for years, and this is how he does her. Embarrassing." Another wrote, "This isn't about Claressa. This is about a man who's supposed to love his wife, showing the world his loyalty lies elsewhere." Behind closed doors, things were even worse. Insiders revealed that Remy confronted Papoose with questions he struggled to answer. Why didn't he invite her? Why did Claressa get a celebration that seemed so personal? Was there something more going on? At first, Papoose allegedly insisted it was nothing but friendship. Claressa being a celebrated athlete and public figure, had always been part of his extended circle, but Remy wasn't buying it. The energy was different. The intimacy was undeniable. And the fact that she had been blindsided made the situation sting even more. Remy's tears weren't just about a single night, okay? They were about years of loyalty she felt had been thrown away in an instant. She had given Papoose everything, her trust, her love, her forgiveness through past mistakes. She stood by him when he had very little, when the world dismissed him, and when the industry overlooked his contributions. And now she felt abandoned in return. Those tears represented the weight of a love story crumbling before her eyes. But while Remy cried, Claressa celebrated. The boxing champion posted clips and photos from the night on her social media, smiling ear to ear, clearly proud of the turnout. And though she didn't directly mention Papoose, her captions seemed almost pointed, surrounded by real ones. Who truly care for me? First birthday? Best birthday? That sentence alone set fans ablaze. Was Claressa throwing shade at Remy? Was she implying Papoose was the real one? Who cared while Remy was not? Remy was not. The blogs wasted no time dissecting every word, every gesture, every video frame. YouTube channels, podcasts, and gossip pages pumped out hour-long discussions about the situation. Some claimed Claressa and Papoose had been secretly close for months, while others argued that this was a publicity stunt meant to spark headlines. Either way, the damage was done. The perfect image of Remy and Papoose's marriage was now shattered in the public eye, and Remy couldn't escape it. Every time she opened her phone, the betrayal stared back at her. Every time she walked outside, people whispered. Even her closest friends were divided, some urging her to leave Papoose, others telling her to fight for her marriage. But in her heart, the decision wasn't so easy. Walking away meant ending a love story she had built her identity on. Staying meant swallowing pain and humiliation she wasn't sure she could handle. The emotional toll was brutal. Friends described Remy as quiet, withdrawn, and fragile in ways they had never seen before. For someone who had faced prison, industry, politics, and public beefs without breaking, this betrayal cut the deepest. Because this wasn't an enemy or a rival, this was her husband. The man who promised forever. The man who built his entire reputation on being the one loyal rapper husband who never folded. Meanwhile, Papoose tried to control the damage. Sources say he reached out privately to Remy, begging her to understand, promising there was nothing romantic between him and Claressa. But his explanations only made things worse. If it was truly nothing, then why did it look like so much? Why was she not included? Why was Claressa posting captions that made it sound like Papoose was her biggest supporter? Remy demanded answers, but the more she pushed, the more Papoose stumbled. The world began to turn on him. For years, Papoose was admired as the perfect hip-hop husband. He had been the blueprint for loyalty, the man everyone pointed to when they wanted to prove real love still existed. Now his image was cracking. Fans who once praised him now dragged him online, calling him out for embarrassing Remy publicly. The same loyalty that made him famous now made his alleged betrayal sting even harder. And Claressa, she played her role masterfully. While Remy cried and Papoose stumbled, Claressa continued smiling, posting workout videos, media appearances, and subtle birthday content. She never addressed the rumors directly, but her silence was deafening. Too many, it looked like she didn't need to speak because the pictures said everything. The closeness, the celebration, the joy, they all told a story that Remy could not erase. By the end of the week, the situation had snowballed into a full-blown scandal. Radio hosts discussed it during morning shows. Hip-hop bloggers called it the ultimate betrayal. And fans kept demanding a response from Remy. They wanted to hear her side, her voice, her truth. But instead, Remy chose silence. Perhaps because she didn't know what to say. Or perhaps because the truth was too painful to admit. Silence, however, only fueled speculation. Some claimed Remy was plotting her next move, waiting for the perfect time to speak out. Others believed she was too broken to face the public. Either way, her tears had already told the story. And the world had seen enough to know this wasn't just gossip, was heartbreak unfolding in real time as the days passed. One thing became clear: this wasn't going away. The bond between Papoose and Claressa was now in question. Remy's marriage was hanging by a thread, and the world was watching every move. What began as a birthday celebration had turned into one of the most dramatic scandals hip-hop had seen in years. For Remy, the pain was far from over. Because betrayal doesn't just end when the cameras stop rolling. It lingers. It haunts. And as she wiped her tears, she knew the hardest part was still to come, deciding whether to fight for a love that may already be gone, or to finally walk away. If part 1 was the heartbreak and part 2 was the fallout, then part 3 was the breaking point, the moment where everything came crashing down, and the truth could no longer be hidden. The tension had been building for days. Remy Ma's silence was louder than any interview or statement could ever be. The public had already pieced together a story. Papoose had betrayed his wife. Claressa was the woman at the center, and Remy was left humiliated. But silence can only last so long. Eventually, Remy snapped. According to insiders close to the couple, Remy finally confronted Claressa directly. It wasn't on Instagram, it wasn't on live TV, it happened behind the scenes, away from the cameras. But word of that confrontation quickly leaked. Remy, with tears in her eyes, demanded to know what Claressa's relationship with Papoose really was. Was this friendship, or was there something deeper? Claressa, cool and collected, allegedly responded with a dismissive tone. "It's not what you think, but maybe it's what you fear." That line alone spread like wildfire across blogs once it was leaked. The implication was chilling. Remy was furious. That answer wasn't denial, it was a dagger to the heart. If Claressa was innocent, why be cryptic? Why play games? To Remy, it felt like mockery. Like Claressa enjoyed the pain, enjoyed the spotlight, enjoyed being the one who could shake the foundation of hip-hop's power couple. And Papoose, he was stuck in the middle, struggling to control a narrative that had already slipped out of his hands. Publicly, he posted subtle messages about staying strong and protecting family, but they rang hollow. Fans flooded his comments with accusations. Protecting family. You weren't protecting Remy when you were smiling with Claressa. Others wrote, the man who preached loyalty is the same man who embarrassed his wife. His credibility was in shambles. Behind the scenes, Remy gave Papoose an ultimatum. She couldn't live in the shadows of whispers and humiliation anymore. Either he cut off all contact with Claressa, or their marriage would end. For years, Papoose had been the strong one, the one keeping their family together. But now, he was on his knees, begging for forgiveness. Sources revealed he tried to reassure Remy, swearing there was no affair, no betrayal, just poor judgment. But Remy's tears told the truth. She didn't believe him. The hip-hop community began to take sides. Some defended Remy, saying she deserved better, that no woman, especially one who had been so loyal, should have to endure public humiliation. Others accused her of overreacting, insisting the birthday was harmless. But one thing everyone agreed on: the damage was done. Even if there was no affair, the perception of betrayal was enough to break what they once had. Then came the moment that shocked everyone. Remy Ma finally spoke. She didn't do a tell-all interview or a messy Instagram live. Instead, she posted a single video clip to her Instagram story. In the clip, she sat alone, eyes swollen from crying, her voice trembling as she said, "I trusted both of you, and now I don't know who to trust anymore." That one sentence was all it took. The internet exploded. "I trusted both of you," a direct hit to Papoose and Claressa at the same time. wasn't just about her husband anymore. About Claressa too. About betrayal coming from two directions. About the unbearable pain of being left in the dark by people she thought she could count on. Claressa responded, "Of course." Hours later, she posted a smiling picture of herself in the boxing gym with the caption, "Can't knock me down. I keep winning." To her fans, it was motivational. To Remy's supporters, it was cruel. The shade was clear, and the feud had officially become public. This was no longer just a private marriage issue. It was a headline story. Podcasts dissected every post. YouTube channels racked up millions of views analyzing body language. And bloggers speculated about whether Remy would file for divorce. What once looked like unshakable love was now on life support, bleeding in front of the entire world. And as all of this unfolded, Remy's pain turned to something else resolve. She wasn't just going to sit back and cry. She wasn't just going to let herself be the victim of someone else's actions. Friends say she began quietly meeting with lawyers, exploring her options and considering the future. For the first time in years, she was asking herself whether she was better off without Papoose. That thought alone sent shockwaves across the industry. Because if Remy Ma, the queen of loyalty, walked away from her husband, it would mark the end of one of hip-hop's most iconic love stories. But it wasn't just about divorce or betrayal. It was about image. Remy built her career on strength, on resilience, on being the woman who never folded. And now, that image was being tested in ways she never expected. Every time she cried in private, she reminded herself that the world was watching. And if she was going to fall, she wasn't going to stay down. Meanwhile, Papoose tried desperately to fix the mess. He arranged private dinners, tried to surprise her with gifts, even begged her not to give up on their marriage. But Remy's trust was gone, and once trust is broken, love is never the same. Even if they stayed together, the scars would remain. The public continued to speculate about Claressa's role. Was she the villain? Was she just caught in the middle? Or was she purposely inserting herself into a marriage to make herself relevant beyond the boxing ring? No one could say for sure, but her cryptic responses and refusal to back down painted her as unapologetic at best and vindictive at worst. The climax came when Remy attended a live event days later. Cameras captured her walking in alone without Papoose by her side. Normally, they were inseparable. Tis. Time she made a statement. She didn't need him. Dressed in all black, eyes sharp and fierce, she looked like a woman reclaiming her power. And though the pain was still there, fans cheered her on, shouting her name as if to remind her that she wasn't alone. That night during her performance, she paused midway through and addressed the crowd. Her voice shook, but her message was clear. Sometimes the people you love the most are the ones who hurt you the deepest. But that pain don't break you, yet makes you stronger. The crowd erupted, and in that moment, Remy wasn't just a rapper. She was a survivor. The story of Remy Ma, Papoose, and Claressa is still unfinished. Maybe forgiveness will come. Maybe divorce will follow. Maybe Claressa will fade from the picture, or maybe she'll continue to stir the fire. But one thing is certain, Remy Ma's tears changed everything. What was once the perfect love story is now a cautionary tale about trust, betrayal, and the fragility of even the strongest bonds, because in the end, birthdays come and go, but the pain of betrayal, that lingers forever. If you've made it this far, you know this story is deeper than just a birthday celebration. It's about loyalty, love, and the painful reality of betrayal. But now I want to hear from you. Do you think Papoose crossed the line with Claressa? Was this an innocent friendship, or did Remy Ma have every right to feel betrayed? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now, because your voice matters in this conversation. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update on the biggest stories shaking the hip-hop world. We break it down with the details others leave out, so if you want the truth, this is where you'll find it. Also, if you enjoyed today's deep dive, make sure to give this video a thumbs up It really helps the channel grow and lets us keep bringing you explosive stories like this one. Share it with a friend who follows hip-hop drama, and let's see what they think too. Stay locked in, because this saga isn't over yet. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next.